At first, I knew every citizen in my colony. Not literally, obviously, there were hundreds of them. I'm unemployed, not insane, but I cared about them. I understood their needs. I built their homes, their farms, their wells. When I woke from my days drenched in my own sweat, reeling from the acute mental overstimulation to see that my hobbit-maxed cottagecore animal farm was now a dystopian nightmare with an integrated military-industrial complex and a secret police of literal pigs, I realize that this is, in fact, a good game. I know you may be tired of the constant circle jerking of indie titles, but have you heard of this underrated gem, The Witcher 3? If you haven't played this Bulgarian dating simulator from 1993 programmed exclusively using mechanical computers, you can't call yourself a true gamer. I'm sorry, I don't write the rules. They come to me in my dreams. Either way, this game is brilliant, and I'm going to tell you why. City Skylines, Europa Universalis, Total War, Dwarf Fortress, and Factorio. What do these games have in common? Not a whole lot, but somehow all of these games are represented in Songs of Syx, the solo dev project which effortlessly mashes them all together to create one of the most addicting games I've played. What is this strange looking game? Songs of Syx is at its core a colony simulator, where you build cities that can eventually contain tens of thousands of inhabitants. Every citizen has needs, jobs, loyalties, and opinions. You build farms, warehouses, workshops, roads, all in the interest of growing your city into a regional power. Oh yes, you are but one city of many, competing in trade and warfare to rule these lands. You build farms for grain, which is processed into bread and bakeries. But for bakeries you need coal, so you build a charcoaler to make coal from wood. For your charcoal you need metal, which means you need to mine ore which is smelted together with coal, and so on and so forth. If you like supply chains, there's plenty of that to go around here. Everything you do in this game matters, even which race you invite to inhabit your city. In Songs of Syx, every race has a unique and exhaustive list of abilities and desires which you must fulfill unless you want to handle large-scale race riots. These things naturally end up affecting the way your cities are built. Let me explain with a small example. Your city begins with Crotonians, these very handsome pig people. You build farms, homes, wells, and eventually invite more Crotonians to grow your city. In this newfound Eden, these mirthful creatures live together with nature itself. They understand the land. Their chosen gods are representations of the earth, and they know nothing but the joy of their labor and the company of their fellow man. Well, pig man. Of course, you must cater to them nonetheless. You build these wells, toilets, markets, but you do this happily. The world may be dangerous, but the wealth our prosperity brings us keeps us safe, mostly through the might of foreign mercenaries and a watchful militia. Our pottery workshops are the envy of the world, using our natural resources to create works of art to be enjoyed and sold. Eventually, you'll be given the option to invite other races. Your success has not gone unnoticed, and why should we not share our bounty with the many races of this world? The gods have given each of us their own abilities and strengths, which can be utilized in service of the colony. Humans, for example, are good at thinking, which naturally lends itself well to working in laboratories and libraries. To that end, you invite humans to work in your laboratories and libraries, so that they can think. Yes, some Crotonian jobs are displaced for this, but they're happier on the fields anyway. For them to do their thinking efficiently, you place homes in the area, and the necessary amenities required for them not to die and perhaps even experience the occasional crumb of joy. Your newfound technological progress has resulted in advancements in hygiene, farming, and even entertainment. The city has never been richer, and you find yourself accepting the immigration applications of all humans. What was once a Crotonian city has slowly become much more multicultural, where all provide and take according to their means and abilities. We invent paved roads, and our newfound wealth allows citizens to bring home resources from the markets to decorate their homes. Human desires begin to take priority in your mind, as their happiness productively lends itself to the future success of the city. Their neighborhoods, paved and with amenities in walking distance, draw human migrants from across the continent. Of course, not all are equally happy with these developments. Crotonians who excel at farmings are relocated to the rural areas, away from the public amenities and clean streets your newly immigrated citizens call home. These citizens, once individuals, become cogs in a larger machine, one that prioritizes only their output. You don't have time to worry about their individual needs anymore. You have granaries to see to, a treasury to manage, walls to construct. You elevate a class of noblemen from human citizens, rewarding loyalty and devotion to the ideals of the state. Our vast Crotonian breeding pits spew forth with future subjects forced into indoctrination. Our city grows, and so do our monuments to our own vanity. Humans also have a natural tendency for prejudice. Their newfound pride in their high castles juxtaposes against the relative Kryptonian misery, but it is all in the interest of the city. Kryptonians find themselves in a city staunchly different from the one they grew up in, as their hooved feet struggle to navigate carefully engineered paved roads. Crime and punishment, intrinsically linked to each other, are inevitable necessities. When you create a state apparatus to maintain order, punishing offenders who wish to change the status quo, complaints are many, but ultimately silenced. When you create a justice system where you personally determine the consequences for specific crimes, dissent is there, but obviously suppressed. When your armies spread across the land, bringing your banner to untold corners of the world, no one even dares speak out against you. We construct gargantuan monuments to our own bloodlust, filling them with dissatisfied citizens who have their rage subside by the agreeable aggression of games. As the city grows, the humble farms and fisheries are replaced by workshops, refineries, breweries, churning out increasing levels of output, all planned out in meticulous logistical detail. We grew our own food once. Now our grain comes from distant lands, taxed from fearful peasants who know whose heavy metal boots come to their door should they not. What was once a local militia becomes a professional army of trained, armed soldiers dedicated to the state. We establish and develop a military-industrial complex. By manufacturing our own weapons, we can always meet our own demand, a demand which scales with our quantity of weapons. Our armies march across the continent, looting and conquering. All this wealth inevitably flows back to the city, through the slums, past the manufacturing district, straight to the throne room and the imperial treasury. The city, brimming with material wealth, black clouds of smoke spewing forth from the great machines powered by the sweat of our many citizens. In the center of town, a shrine stands, a reminder of what the city once was. No one remembers it now, except for the half-crazy retirees who in their twilight years suffer the consequences of decades of manual labor. With this forgetfulness, the shrine loses its purpose, and is replaced by a brand new lavatory, ready to be desecrated. What was it all for? Who can say? Who can say exactly why humanity on Earth has expanded so voraciously across our own planet? But I know that you, like me, have that itching feeling in the back of your mind. An urge to see numbers grow larger and larger, which can only be abated by this kind of game. Perhaps it's just an evolutionary quirk, or a program directed from our creators to ensure that we one day will join them amongst the stars. Or maybe we're all just unmedicated. This game is a remarkable project developed by a single Swedish man with a terrible microphone. It is still in early access, and he has extensive plans for how he wants the game to look before 1.0. What exists so far is truly spectacular, but it is still an unfinished game. There is plenty to do, but there are areas where the rough edges are shown quite prominently. Empire management to me is the mechanic which feels most underdone, but if implemented correctly, would launch this game into the stratosphere. My name is NefariousKnight, and as you can probably tell, I love this game, and I'm begging you to try it. The free demo is available on Steam and consists of the entire game, just a few versions older. Yes, the graphics aren't the best, and it will be frustrating to learn, but it will all be worth it. Trust me. New video whenever my Kryptonian subjects stop trying to break through my door.